Yeah, I used to roll backwoods, Rick the Dawn's good wherever he goes. 1 million and one flows, depositing dough. Said you down with the mafia family, let me know. Yeah, number one, I don't do number two. They watching how I do, because I'm really hood. Red hoodie, gold jewelry, too groovy, might lose me. Don't approach with the foolery, keep the two on me, homie. You don't know me, Rick the Dawn, the one and only. Yeah. Yo, what's going on? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn, and you already know what time it is. Last time y'all saw me, we did episode 25, the Black KKK. Very great episode. If you haven't seen it yet, you got to go check it out. Nothing but real talk. And as of right now, I feel like I got to change gears a little bit. You know, talk about something a little more lighthearted. What's more lighthearted than basketball? So today we'll be talking about the all-time NBA basketball players, my personal top 10. I want to preference everything by saying my list probably will not be popular, but you got to know one thing about me. I don't really care about trying to fit in. If anything, I'm usually trying to fit out. Before I get started though with the official top 10, I do want to discuss some honorable mentions. Sam Jones, I think he had 8 championships. You got to show him love. Also, Tom Hyson. That's another one. 8 championships. Show that man some love. Another one. John Havlicek. Great NBA champion. Got to show him some love. Casey Jones. Can't forget about Casey Jones. A great basketball player. Numerous championships. Will not be in my top 10, but again, a honorable mention for sure. Robert Horry. One of my personal favorites. It really drives me crazy that I can't put Robert the GOAT Horry into my top 10, but I already know what it is. It's not going to go over well, so I'm not going to even do that. Number 6, of course, you can't, include an honorable mentions list without Bob Cousy. So shout out to Bob Cousy. I didn't forget about you. Much love. Now, let's talk about the criteria that each of these players must have met in order to be in my top 10. Number 1, they had to have at least one MVP. They had to have an MVP to even be on my list. Number 2, they had to be the number 1 option on their team, which is why one of my favorites, Robert Horry, is not in my top 10 despite having 7 championships. They had to score more than 15 points per game for their career. They had to have at least 15 points per game or better. My final criteria, they had to have at least 2 championships. If they didn't have 2 championships, they were not making this list, all right? So here it is, folks. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling. For number 10 is Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. All right, let's break down why Wilt the Stilt is number 10 on my list. All right, he scored 30.1 points per game for a career, 22.9 rebounds, 4.4 assists, which is amazing for a center, 247.3 win shares, and 4 MVPs. Wow. You have to wonder why isn't he higher on my list. The reason why Wilt is not higher on my list is because championships dominate my list. Championships are the primary criteria. If you're playing a game, and it doesn't matter what game it is, whatever sport, whatever. If you're doing anything, you're doing it to actually win the highest prize, the championship. You can have the most points, the most assists, but none of that equals a championship. Everybody should know that. So for me, Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain is number 10, and I do mean that with great respect, okay? Great respect. Number 9, for me, is Larry Bird. Let's break down his numbers. 24.3 points per game, 10 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 145 win shares, and on top of all that, 3 MVPs. Now, I didn't say this for Wilt, but Wilt was number 1 in rebounds out of my top 10. So he had, 22.9 rebounds. Wilt was number 1 out of all the 10 players that I have in the top 10. He was number 1 in rebounds, which is amazing. As far as Larry Bird, he is number 3 in assists out of the 10 guys I have in the top 10. Larry Bird, 3 rings, 3 MVPs. Beautiful career, right? For number 8, I got Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq, come on now. I'm always going to show love to Shaq. Shaq is an amazing player. I remember growing up and just watching him play, very dominant. Let's break down his numbers a little bit. Shaq scored 23.7 points per game, which is crazy. He had 10.9 rebounds, so he averaged for his career a double-double. He had 2.5 assists, which is pretty decent, not terrible. And then 181 win shares. He won 1 MVP and, of course, 4 championships, right? Let's break down what win shares are, just in case you're not sure what win shares are. Win shares is the numeric breakdown of how much a single player had an impact on his team or her team winning. So when I say win shares, this basically rates the level of winning that this particular player contributed to his team, So I have to say, yes, win shares are considerably important. Going on to number 7. Now, this is going to be probably where a lot of people leave because they're going to be very upset. They're going to feel like I'm on some sneaky business. But I did make it very clear in the beginning that championships dominate my list. All right, that is the most important criteria, despite all the individual accolades on and off the court. So for me, number 7 is LeBron James. All right. And I say that with great respect. That is not a slight in the least. I think by the time you finish hearing my entire list, you'll be a little bit more okay with my number 7 pick. Let's break down some of his stats and attributes. First off, 4 championships. I do have him above Shaq because I really, that would have been biased, right? But because I really like Shaq in terms of his game. But I didn't want to show bias with this list. So I had to be honest with myself and say I do believe that LeBron James deserves to be higher than Shaq. Now, as far as points per game, LeBron James, as of right now, he's still playing. In fact, he is the only player that is currently still in the game that is on my list, which to me is a great testament to his gameplay and his longevity. LeBron James, as of right now, he averages 27.1 points per game overall for his career so far. As far as rebounds, 7.5. That's pretty up there. Miraculously, he averages 7.4 assists, which is pretty amazing. I mean, think about it. 27 points per game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He pretty much is the quintessential all-around player. And in terms of win shares, LeBron James has 249.5 win shares. Incredible. 4 MVPs, 4 rings. In terms of where LeBron ranks out of my top 10, he is number 2 in points per game, number 2 in assists, and number 2 in win shares. So he's right in the thick of things. But as I've already stated, I don't have that mindset that a lot of people have where they forgot about all of history and just leapfrogs LeBron James to the front of the list. I'm not that guy. You're not going to see that from here, from me. You want that kind of list? Go to somebody that was born in like 2000. All right, I'm 86, so I know a little bit more than that. Number 6 on my list, Tim Duncan. That's right. I have Tim Duncan ahead of LeBron James. And I'm not about to make this entire list about LeBron James because I know that's where a lot of people are going to get stuck at. But for me, I'm moving on. I got Tim Duncan at number 6. And here is why. 5 championships. That's number 1. That's the number 1 reason. But don't get it twisted. Tim Duncan was the number 1 option on his team. And here's his numbers. 19 points per game, 10.8 rebounds, 3 assists, 206.4 win shares, 2 MVPs. So in theory, we can make a great argument here for LeBron James to say that LeBron James has Tim Duncan beat in just about every category. But we have to also consider a couple things. Again, championships are my number 1 criteria. And also, LeBron James played with some immaculate help. Not to say that Tim Duncan did not. But can you imagine if some of these other guys, even Tim Duncan, joined a big 3? Tim Duncan, Shaq, Kobe. Like if they had something like that going on, it would have been just unfair. All right, number 5. I got Kobe Bean Bryant. 5 championships. Here's his numbers. 25 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 172.7 win shares, 1 MVP, and again, 5 rings. Championship rings are my number 1 criteria. As you can see, we already know Bean was a heck of a scorer. In terms of where he ranks in scoring out of my top 10, he ranks number 3 out of my top 10 players. All right, 25 points per game. Moving along to number 4. This should come as no surprise to anyone. I got Magic Johnson. Hey, shout out to Winning Time. If anybody is checking out Winning Time on HBO, heck of a series. I was like against that show. I was like, I don't want to watch this. I don't feel like, man, I watched like 5 seconds of Winning Time and I was hooked. I'm like, oh snap. Like, I like how they break the fourth wall, kind of like Bernie Mac used to do back when he had his show. I was like, yo, I love this fourth wall break. But yeah, I got Magic Johnson at number 4. Here's why. 5 championships. In terms of points, 19.5 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 11.2 assists, 155 win shares, 3 MVPs. How about it? All right. A lot of people that are a part of this current era, I don't think they give Magic Johnson enough respect. I just don't. I don't know if it was the whole age thing. I don't know if the fact that he was dethroned by Mike and a lot of people revere Mike. I don't know what it is. But in my personal opinion, this guy deserves so much more credit. So I got Magic Johnson number 4 all time. And if you arguing against that, first off, I understand. I get it. But championships dominate my list. I'm going to keep repeating that because I know a lot of people ain't getting that. All right, here we go, folks. Let's talk about this beautiful top 3 that I have. Man, this is a beautiful top 3. If you are a basketball enthusiast, then you already know what my top 3 or who my top 3 is. You already know. I bet you can figure it out. Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Somebody had to say this. You know, I am so over people completely forgetting that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played basketball. We have so many debates and discussions, and it's just like he just gets, you know, completely missed, as if he's invisible. And I know what that all stems from. He wasn't popular. He had one of those anti-type of attitudes. But I'm not here to rate attitudes. If it was the top 10 attitudes, Kareem would be, you know, but this is the top 10 NBA players of all time. And if you don't think Kareem deserves to be on this list or as high as he is in my list, I would argue that you might not know, you know, that much about basketball. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Let's break down his numbers. Amazing numbers, by the way. 24.6 points per game. Not bad, right? 11.2 rebounds. 3.6 assists. Pretty low, but whatever. He was a center, right? 273.4 win shares. 6 championships and 6 MVPs. Wait a minute. We're not going to just skip by that. Did you hear what I said? 273.4 win shares. He has the highest win share out of my entire top 10 list. We just putting him down at number 8, 5. How? And as far as rebounds, he ranks number 3 on my top 10 in terms of all of those players. So he's 3rd in rebounds out of my top 10, but number 1 in win shares. All right. But here we go, y'all. I know that you just like, yeah, I gotta, come on. Just go ahead. Your list is crazy. I already know number 1 and 2 gonna be off. I didn't, you know, LeBron is all the way down to number 7. This list can't possibly get any better from here. And you're right. If you upset about what I did already and put LeBron at 7, this is gonna really upset you. Here it is. Number 2, Michael Jordan. Oh my God. Oh man. Do you know how hard it was for me to put Michael MJ Jordan number 2? This is how you know my list is not biased. This is how you can tell, because if my list was biased, MJ would be number 1. Matter of fact, MJ would be number 0. I'm being mature here. Michael Jordan for me is number 2. Let me explain why. Here we go. 30.1 points per game, which is amazing. You know who Michael Jordan is tied with in terms of points per game? Wilt Chamberlain. Anytime you're tied with or you have surpassed Wilt Chamberlain in anything, we already know that you in GOAT conversation. So for this small shooting guard, and I mean small subjectively because he was 6'6", this smaller shooting guard averaged the same amount of points as this giant Wilt the Still. 30.1 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, which is pretty good for a shooting guard. 5.3 assists, again, pretty good for a shooting guard. In terms of win shares, 214 win shares. Are you serious? And wait a minute, we're not done. 6 championships and 5 MVPs. And you already know MJ could have got way more than 5 if he stayed in the league. And also if, you know, the league was being honest. I mean, at what point was MJ really not the best player in the league, if we're being honest? And you can make the same case for LeBron James. I do agree with that. Michael Jordan is number 2 on my list. 6 championships, 5 MVPs. Now let's talk about where he ranks all time out of my top 10. I've already pointed out that he's tied for number 1 with Wilt Chamberlain, which is pretty amazing. In terms of MVPs, he's tied with number 1 on my list. The gentleman that is number 1, Michael Jordan, is tied with that particular player, 5 MVPs. But before I reveal my number 1 pick and why, I want you to check out this dope track by yours truly, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
You are not ready, still haven't ended me yet. You've been trying for years. I'm so far ahead of my peers. No fears, I battle these lames. Your flow's plain Jane. Plus you got killed by the game. Got killed by the sun too. You're probably writing for the new threat, but he's fake, how could we forget? New J's on my feet, retro 11s. Old killers, prepare for heaven. Not new J's. Check. 1, check. 2, check. 3, check. Check. I said 4s, check, 5s, check, 6s, check, 7s, check. Who you kidding? That ain't your money, that's your girl's money. Your cash funny, plus you couldn't see me with my focals on. How could you be king if you watched the throne? Riddle me this, why this the GOAT after 96? Sense a little fear in your mix, my Kool-Aid strong. New Dawn put hits on every song. The other dude's legend is leprechaun arms short. Master the sport, army and fort, judge of the court, blow off our sorts. Mission abort when you trying me. New J's super clean, she eyeing me. Tailored shirt and jeans brighter than the red beam. It was all a dream. Weighed education against selling crack, then flipped off the triple beam. Landed on my feet, graduated from the streets with 0 defeats. New J's, check. 8s, checks. 9s, check. 10s, check. I said 11s, check. 12s, check. 13, check. 14, check. I go hard in the P like ginseng. I can pull a PYT, no bling bling. I used to want a deal, now I want 100 billion. My investments in pharmaceuticals are legal. Fly as an eagle, mobbing like seagull. Prepared everywhere that we go. My team speaker sees no evil. Far as we know, I have no equal. Push flow like Panico, and my vision surpasses bronze or Calico's. You ain't the best, you a known biter. How you top 5 with a ghost rider? Here we go again, can't trust ya. I'll box you rider like a ghostbuster. Ask around them sales, my name ring bells. New rappers like Kales, watch a hotel. No, I won't fail, grab a hater by his coattail. Bear market, I cop stocks wholesale. New J's, check. 15, check. 16, check. 17, check. I said 18, check. 19, check. 20s, check. 21, check. Diversified bitches got me heavy cake. New man since I said hi to real estate. Push land like they push grams. Put an end to your run like a car jam. Bump your bike with my ride though. With the gun the size of the gun Banderas had in Desperado. Camouflage though, at where you hide though. New J's, waves, gold rope, yeah.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that track. Now let's put a beautiful bow on this controversial list. Somebody is really mad right now. Number 1 on my list is none other than Bill Russell. Come on. Can we just, let's just get this part out the way real quick. 11 championships. Can I stop right there? Let's break down these numbers a little bit. 15.1 points per game, 22.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 163.5 win shares, 11 championships, 5 MVPs. How do, I've heard a lot of lists, and I looked at a couple lists before I did my own. I see people putting Bill Russell at like number 5. How do you put a guy with 11 championships and 5 MVPs down to number 5, number 4 even? I mean, here's the argument against Bill Russell. It wasn't a lot of teams. There wasn't a lot of black players. These are things you can't blame Bill Russell for. It's not Bill Russell's fault that his parents had him when they did. All he had to do and all he could do was dominate the era that he was placed in. In about 20, 30, 60 years, they're going to try to blame LeBron James for things he can't control. Should we knock down LeBron James lower on this list because, it's been 60 years time and 60 years? No, you got to respect every era and just respect it. So in my opinion, Bill Russell is number 1 all time. And that doesn't even sound bad. Bill Russell is number 1 all time. Any objections? No. 15 points. All right, you can argue that's pretty low. But we already know what Bill Russell was all about. He was defense. He was that guy. Now to be the number 1 guy on your team, number 1 option on your team, but be on the defensive side, that's unheard of in today's game. 22.5 rebounds. And remember, because Bill Russell was so great, he stopped guys like Jerry West. He stopped guys like Wilt Chamberlain from being so, or even greater than what they already are. The same thing can be said about MJ, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, just to name a few. These are guys who are great in their own right, but MJ's greatness stifled theirs. And that's what I'm talking about. I got to give it up to my man Bill. I got to go over this list one more time just for housekeeping's sake. Number 10, Wilt Chamberlain with 2 championships. Number 9, Larry Bird with 3 championships. Number 8, Shaquille O'Neal, 4 championships. Number 7, LeBron James, 4 championships. Shut up. 4 championships. You're not going to be number 1 on my list when there's a guy with 11 and your guy got 4. Okay? Hey, it's real simple math. If we talking about money, which one you want to be? The one with 4 million or 11 million? All right, I'm done. Moving on to number 6. Tim Duncan, 5 championships. Number 5, Kobe Bryant, 5 championships. Number 4, Magic Johnson, 5 championships. Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 6 championships. Number 2, Michael Jordan, my personal favorite, 6 championships. Number 1, Bill Russell with 11 championships. Hey, I told you, Bill. I told you I was going to keep it 100, bro. I wasn't going to just break down and, follow the crowd. I never follow the crowd. You're going to always know one thing if you don't know nothing. Rick the Don going to always do what he feel like is the right thing to do. And it felt right to put my main man, Bill Russell, number 1. Hey, if you agree, then you smart. I'm just playing. That's a joke. If you could please comment if you're watching this via YouTube and, let me know what you think. Do you disagree? Do you agree? How bad is my list? How good is my list? I got a feeling that a lot of people probably are upset, but I think they will respect my list because of how I did it. If you can't tell already, I went in order of rings. I found the top 10 players and I just put them all in order of rings. That's how I did it. Because to me, that's the most important thing, the championship. So with that being said, folks, thank you all for tuning in. It is the Really Hood Podcast by yours truly, Rick the Dawn. Thank you all for watching. I'll kick it with y'all on the next one.